Alright, happy Friday guys, hope you're doing well. Today we're going to be covering the Bitcoin price action once again, and today's pretty cool because we got some nice exciting price action to the upside. I think some more bulls might be appearing in the market. I know I have been getting slammed by all of the bears in the comments down below, and I absolutely love it. The sentiment is perfect for Bitcoin actually being bullish. If everyone was saying we were going to 500k right now, I'd be a little bit worried, but we're just not seeing that, and that's one of the reasons my base case just remains that we are going to all-time highs once again. We're going to capitulate those bears back into bulls, and once we do that, that's where the final top does come in. But of course, anything can happen. All we can do is discuss what might be most likely to happen. So let's talk about what's going on with the chart right now. You can see a bunch of different colored lines. What are these? These are value area highs, point of controls, value area lows that we have been respecting very, very well. And actually, let me add one back into the chart that we were talking about in last video, such as this macro weekly point of control, and I'm not actually adding it back in. I'm just changing the color. This was white in yesterday's video. I switched it to blue though. But if we look at this kind of all-time high range that we've had all the way since 2021, everything we can see on the chart, this big volume profile has been building over here on the right from that time frame, and a lot of volume has been traded here on Bitcoin, and we wanted to see that volume get flipped into support. We did not want to lose this volume and reject it, so going ahead and actually flipping that into support is an amazing sign to see on the charts. But real quick, let me just remove all these crazy levels within here. Look at the chart on the weekly time frame, look at that weekly EMA, and tell me this doesn't look like it's set up to potentially fire off. I am now thinking there's a chance with the sentiment in the market right now that we could fire off to multiple six figures. Okay, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000. I don't think it's impossible. You know, if the US is going to use it as a reserve asset like they say they might, if big money is really going to start pricing that in, it's not impossible, but I don't want to be a moon boy on the channel. My base case is still the same. I'm just saying, don't be surprised if it happens, but also don't be surprised if we just nuke into the bear market right now, because unemployment could come out bad. We have unemployment rate coming out on September 6th, and then we have our Fed meeting September 18th. So let's go ahead and actually look at those Fed numbers. I know I'm getting kind of ahead of myself, but I did want to cover this. So we see September 18th, there's only a 27% chance they're going to cut by 50 basis points. This is great to see. We had been talking about if unemployment rate is truly bad, and if they do a 50-point rate cut or even an emergency rate cut, that it would certainly market into the markets and signal a recession is truly upon us. But the fact that they are now pricing in a much higher percent chance, 72.5% chance to be exact, that it is just going to be a 25 basis point rate cut, that is not the most bearish thing in the world. Obviously, we've known throughout history rate cuts do historically mark tops in the market, and I do think this time will be no different. But historically, sometimes it happens too much before, sometimes it happens too much after, and I do think this could be a case where the top comes in around 2-3 months after they cut rates, which would also align right within when the presidential election is happening. And that just seems like a highly likely outcome if, let's say, Trump were to get elected and everybody thinks that he's going to bring back the economy and Bitcoin's firing off because he's talking about Bitcoin in his presidential campaign. And then Bitcoin is firing off into all-time highs when that does come around. I think that would be the perfect catalyst to capitulate all these bears back into bulls, and for everyone to expect the 4-year cycle is actually going to play out, and we're going to have that 2025 bull market, when in reality, that's actually where the true top comes in, and that's where you swing fell all-time highs, as I've been saying with my base case. But of course, only time will tell. We can't really predict stuff that's that far away. So will we go to all-time highs and then swing fail and enter a Great Depression, or will we go to all-time highs and continue just blast off into outer space and we truly have a 4-year cycle? Or will we just enter the bear market right now because maybe unemployment does come in bad on the 6th and then they actually do cut 50 basis points? All of the above are possible. I just wanted to present that information for you guys so you can decide which one of the three you most align with. But let's go ahead and talk about this shorter term time frame stuff. What do I expect going into this weekend? And as with most weekends, I probably don't see us having much volatility. Probably just going to make a range and then sweep the range going into Monday. But overall, I think this low is good. I don't think it's getting taken out anytime soon. The fact that we were able to get over this point of control, this like white dash line was that weekly point of control that we had looked at the beginning of the video. The fact that we backtested that as support after rejecting point of control, then got back above this more local point of control, backtested this into support, now back above value area high, previous range value area high after rejecting that. You can see these levels have just been respected very, very well. I've not put these levels in after price action was made. No, these levels have been in my chart since like back here. These levels are just from a previous range volume profile. They have been respected very, very well, and these levels have continued to be respected very, very well, especially right now, just ping-ponging off of this stuff and the fact that we're above the value area high now. I do expect that to hold as support. So coming into this weekend range, I mean, we see us finding a low here. Maybe we just kind of chop within this range and then sweep to the upside, sweep to the downside, and then fire off for the actual move. Who really knows? I mean, it's a weekend range, but yeah, something like that. Probably expected. We see liquidity here, right? Lots of liquidity there, and then we have this big volume level here. So probably going to, if I were to guess, just chop here for the weekend. We'll see what happens though. But if you are truly bearish, then I would just be watching for these highs here, right? If we are going to enter the bear market now, right, worst case scenario, we would see a swing failure of these highs and then get back under, reject, and then lose this stuff. If something like this plays out where we start, getting back under this liquidity, right? Because we have a lot of liquidity up here, right? Even if we swing fail this, right, grab the liquidity and then come back down and hold this, that's fine. And then in my opinion, I don't even know if this would be a swing failure, and we might just kind of send up here. So yeah, let's watch this liquidity zone here. Let's see if it does actually swing fail or if we kind of just shoot up through it, because low volume gap as well as vector candles, we could just vector straight through it to the upside. This could just launch into outer space right now, and I would not be surprised. I said in yesterday's video, I thought Bitcoin was about to enter honey badger mode. So let's see if that does come true. Some more levels to the upside. We got a lot of liquidity up here. This one we can actually see on our heat maps pretty well. We go over to the 2-week time frame on the heat map. You can see there's liquidity up there. We grab the liquidity to the downside on the local term time frames. If we really are bearish, maybe we grab that and then roll over. So this is kind of your other scenario for bears that could play out if we do swing these highs and then fail. That's at around 63,000. Then yes, that's another bearish scenario. But if we don't swing fail this, right, if this doesn't play out and we are able to accept above this purple line here, then this is going to be getting us back into higher term value areas, right? That's going to get us back into this big range that we had here. And at that point, the rotation to value area high makes the most sense. And actually, very likely at this point, you would go straight to all-time highs, because that's just where the most amount of liquidity is. If we look over here back at CoinInc, we talked about this a little bit. Well, look at what this looks like on the higher term time frames. Tons of liquidity, billions and billions of dollars worth of liquidity up at those all-time highs as compared to anywhere else on the price action right now. We go to even the yearly time frame to look at some much lower prices, and you just don't see that liquidity built up anywhere else on the charts. I mean, maybe you could argue below 27, right? And I think, at some point we probably do grab this. I'm not saying that's never going to happen, but probably after we grab topside liquidity. In my opinion, my base case is come back up, grab the all-time high liquidity, then rotate all the way back down to 27K for an actual recession, depression that I do think is going to happen at some point, but just not quite yet. But we'll see how that does play out. Maybe Bitcoin becomes a reserve asset and we go to multiple six figures. Lots of possibilities, just probabilities. Let's get off of TradingView though. I think we covered this stuff well enough. Let's go to Trading Light to talk about some of these levels. That topside liquidity that we had just discussed above all these highs are also represented by single prints in the chart. Not that this is showing liquidity, but this is the inefficiencies from this move, that vector. So we'll see how price does react with these single prints. Usually you're going to find some resistance within them. So let's see if it's like a full fill and then reject, or potentially, like I said, low volume gap, vectors, single prints, sometimes they just get filled very quickly and they don't stop. So we could see price just accelerate through that. Something else we can see over here is that there's a lot of shorts trapped in the market right now. So when we came down to make these lows, we saw a lot of positions opening and they were opening short. So a lot of shorts that opened at the lows and they haven't quite gotten squeezed out. Like we reset a little bit of open interest within here and here as well, but I still think there's a lot of shorts that need to get flushed out of the market. And I do think we're going much higher before that does happen. I think this is going to squeeze up to all-time highs, as I've been saying. Upthrust after distribution, short squeeze into the highs to grab that liquidity. We'll see how it does play out. So far, so good. I really like what I'm seeing on the charts, order flow wise and level wise. Not only that, but the S&P and dollar look amazing. S&P continues to hunt all the way up to all-time highs, looking extremely bullish here. As I said, Bitcoin's probably going to play a big catch-up game there. And then the US dollar continues to dump. The dollar is inversely correlated with Bitcoin, so I really love to see that. I think the dollar is going to hunt all the way down to this 100 level that I don't have marked out on this chart for some reason. But yes, this is kind of our level to be looking for. That's the macro range lows here on the dollar here. So I do think that's probably where we're going to head next, sending Bitcoin once again to all-time highs. And of course, your altcoin markets do very well during this time too, potentially an altcoin season. We can cover more of that in a future video. I also wanted to cover USDT dominance in a future video because people were requesting that, so I'll make sure to cover that. And also, thank you guys so much for 2,000 subscribers. I kind of missed that in yesterday's video. I forgot to mention it, but yes, I really do appreciate all of the support. Appreciate everyone watching. This YouTube channel has been much more successful than I could have ever imagined, so I really appreciate you guys so much. And if you do have any questions about anything I talked about or just want to join the community for this channel, link to my Discord is in the description down below. Below that link is a VIP Discord specifically for leveraged trading. I am trying to provide actual value in there. It's not no signals group, and I don't even recommend you do leveraged trade, but if you do, if you want some valuable information, click on that link, read all about it, decide for yourself if it's worth the money. Also, there's more links for exchange partners down there in the description below, and those exchanges have some exclusive events going on right now, exclusive bonuses and rewards for those of you who sign up with my referral links, so don't miss out on that. But with that being said, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.